Guys, so thank you for letting me know about Betty Hayes. One of you did, and I appreciate it. So we read about Betty Hayes quite a while ago because she went missing in December of 2021. So right now we're in July of 2023, almost 3 years ago. And there was a lot of concern because it was found that two boys, I shouldn't call them boys, I think they were in their 30s, were breaking into her house. Kind of, they'd done it multiple times and taking things from her. I think if she's the one I'm remembering right, did they want her land at some point? So it wasn't good, and we all thought maybe those boys had something to do with it once it was announced that they were breaking into her house. She just went missing. No clues. Nobody knows anything. But today, or maybe yesterday, recently, let me put it that way, a Lyle Miller was arrested in the murder of Betty Hayes. Now, human remains were found in a pond. I'm guessing this pond had something to do with Lyle Miller, which is why he was arrested. He's 65 though, and these other guys, I believe, were 30s. So I'm not sure if they were related or not. That was one of the questions that somebody had asked me. If they knew each other, if that situation was somehow related to this Lyle Miller, or was this something completely different? We don't know, but we're going to ask. First of all, we're going to ask, are those remains Betty? I'm guessing the police have a pretty good idea that it is because they've arrested somebody in her murder. Maybe they found some things in his house. Who knows? But we'll hear more about it. I'm going to ask what led them to that pond. So, first of all, let's read Is This Betty? So, tell us about these human remains found in this pond in Missouri. This all happened. Madison County is where the pond is. Betty, it's like 7 minutes from where Betty's house was. Betty was in Holiday, Missouri. So tell us about these remains and tell us about them being Betty. All right. Yeah, I do think it is Betty. Why? Because I have the death card. I mean, I don't know that I could have pulled a card that would have told me more that this was Betty than the death card. So I do think it's Betty. It does look for sure like Betty, and it looks like they had a tip because that's what I see when this they found something, maybe even something in writing or someone else informed them. Maybe there was an informant. That's what this card often can stand for. There were clues, things that led them to this and led them to looking into it more. So yeah, that looks like that's Betty. That's sad. She was 88 years old. You know, why would someone want to kill her? It just doesn't make sense. But we'll ask. Maybe that'll be our next question. How about the big old why? This makes no sense that somebody to me would want to kill her, but what do I know about human nature? Just when you think you've got it figured out, it'll surprise you. So let's see um, why would someone want to murder an 88-year-old Betty? I mean, we'll ask if Lyle's connected to her too. Okay, let's see. This is the why. Tell us about why this happened. Right, we do have two cards for this as well. Well, Betty told the truth about something. People don't like when people tell the truth. Isn't there that saying, snitches get stitches or something? Betty told, and she was being a bit, I think, standing up and being honest. And somebody didn't like that at all. So it had something to do with her not only knowing something, but communicating it and saying something. And then this person trying to like protect things, not wanting things to come at them. So um, this person's kind of freaked out a little bit, right? They have two different shoes on. They are acting in just haste, real fast. They don't know what they're doing, kind of, but they're trying to protect things and trying to make it all go away. So Betty knew something. Betty knew something that these people didn't want her to know. I'll have to see what more comes out. That's really interesting. And she communicated, or they were afraid she was going to communicate it. I think she did communicate it already, though. Let's just ask if it's this Lyle Miller that did this. Tell us about this being Lyle Miller. I can't even find a picture of the guy online. If you have one, maybe you can tell me where it is. I like to look at people. Is this Lyle Miller? It helps. When you're reading, it helps just give you that little bit of connection. Here's a bunch of people when I ask, is it Lyle Miller? Looks like there's a lot of different, I almost want to say arguments, things going in different directions. Could there have been more people involved than just him? So there was definitely conflict. And we saw that before with her saying things you didn't want her to say. It may have had something to do with those boys that were burglarizing our house. I don't know why this card is reminding me of that. And maybe he's trying to protect things, and maybe he didn't want her to testify, right? Or things like that. Yeah. So maybe it had something to do with that, this Lyle Miller. Let's ask, is Lyle Miller connected to John Conde or Joshua McNabb, who were the people that broke into Betty's house? Tell us about Lyle Miller being connected to the boys broke into Betty's house. And when I say connected, that does not mean they are father and son or things like that. It's just they know each other, right? There's some sort of connection there. Tell us about Lyle Miller knowing either or both Joshua McNabb and John Conde. Well, Lyle Miller kind of, from what I'm seeing, got his wish. He got what he wanted. Well, this is my water card too. So when somebody's been hidden underwater, this is a card I get. And when someone's been taken out of the world, this is a card I get. It's telling me that's what Lyle Miller did. I feel like he did it on his own because I'm seeing singularities here. I'm seeing him like sitting there like the fat cat, like I've got things hidden. All those cups, they stand for water. And this always reminded me of underwater. I've gotten it multiple times when people are in the water. You can go back to like Kylie Rodney. That's how I knew she was in the water. I got this card. And this is someone, when I get the world card, it's usually someone taking someone else out of the world. Sometimes they could take themselves out of the world. But this is telling me, it appears, honestly, that he may have acted at that moment alone. It just looks like him and Betty at the time that this happened. So I do feel it was Lyle. Not sure that it was connected to boys, but there's something about Betty knowing something, but he acted, from what I'm seeing, alone. I don't see the other guys doing this with him. At least the actual, I hate to say it, but like murder part and putting her in a pond. It looks like he did it alone. Although we have this Five of Wands, which tells me there was a lot of conflict. And that, I don't know if he was acting on behalf of those other people or doing something to hide something for them. So let me just ask that. Was he acting on behalf of someone else, or did he just do this on his own? What I'm seeing is on those cards, he did it on his own. So did he murder Betty on his own, or was he trying to help someone else? I do, again, I think it was like him on his own. I see again a female on her own and a male on his own. That's what it looks like to me. he's, for whatever reason, he's like had enough. And we had that situation of him feeling like too much was coming at him. And he, yeah, honestly, I'm not sure that the incidents are related. It seems like she did know something, which makes me think, well, it has to be that, right? But I feel like he did this on his own. And I feel like he had enough. Enough of what? You know? Read a little bit more. Let's ask what led the police to the pond because, well, I guess they got a tip. We see that already. I'm going back to that card. They did get a tip for sure. Could have been even something written down. What led the police to that pond? This is the Lover's card, so I think we got this before for her. When I was saying I felt like maybe it was like a neighbor's property or somebody she knew. This guy's 65 years old. She's 88. I have a hard time believing they were in a relationship, but stranger things have happened. Because that's a card that is like a relationship. So it's like you knew somebody, you know, you knew them. You had an intimate relationship with them often. When I get the Lover's card, it's often more than just you knew them. Okay, well, we'll see. And here's the Knight of Pentacles. That's the guy that's focused kind of on money, putting a plan in place, moving slowly. So it's interesting to say the least. There must have been some tie to something. Looks like a tip. Him trying to hide things. And there is a focus on money with the Queen of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. For whatever reason, him just feeling like he had enough. Tied to that Lover's card. Okay, I'm going to ask, honestly, it kind of looks like it was just him. There was some sort of relationship with Betty. I'm going to ask, did she know him? Let's just ask that. Did Betty know Lyle Miller? Did she know him? Did Betty Hayes know Lyle Miller? Well, that's his card right here. This is like communication, and it's quick communication. It's reminding me this is the 8 of Wands, and this is the 7 of Wands. I do feel like somehow there was some communication between the two. What that communication was, I don't know. But it feels like there was communication between the two. At which point Betty told the truth, and he didn't like the truth. So that's a little bit more about that. A little bit more about their relationship. Even if it was just that night, but it seems like there was some sort of communication between these two. Tell us about the relationship between Betty and Lyle Miller. Yeah, this is a card again. There is this whole like trying to shut somebody up. Somebody knows something and not wanting them to say anything, to speak. We have to figure this one out when they tell us more. This is interesting. I don't know what it's all about. This is the 8 of Swords, and that's Betty worried with all these thoughts of what's going on and nervous and scared and kind of overpowered. I also feel. overpowered. Yeah. She had some, I mean, it just looks like some horrible luck, right? There were issues for sure, um, with people. Mm. We know people were burglarizing her house regularly, and I see these kids over here, which reminds me of them. But this guy also just, they wanted something and they wanted her to shut up. It's kind of like they wanted her out of the picture. And I'm just going to ask, tell us about that picture. What is this they wanted her out of? What is this that they wanted her out of? Well, this is the Page of Wands. This is someone wanting to like grow new things, start something new, do something new. Their eyes set on what they can do. I know she had property. I don't know how much. I don't know if she was one of those people with a bunch of farmland. It just seems crazy that people would get that greedy. But it does seem like there was something that Betty knew, had said, and that people wanted. That there was some sort of relationship between these two. But that Knight of Pentacles, I am wondering about farmland because you see all that land behind him that's tilled up. Did Betty own farmland? Do we know that? Was that the deal? And there was some communication about that he sure didn't like. Was there some weird thing like that? I don't know. We have to go back and find this out. Maybe some of you know. And that could be this whole lovers kind of relationship. Was this person leasing land from her? Was it something like that? Seems like there was some sort of connection where she told him a truth that he didn't like, a conflict between them, and he just wanted her out of the picture, which sounds crazy. But stranger things have happened. But why would you do that to an 88-year-old person? That's what I get for Betty Hayes. There was actually sort of a plan to do this, it looks like. This is a planning card, which is troublesome. And it was something with the communication between her, and there was some conflict about that. People are crazy. That's all I can say. I mean, I'll just sum it up with that. People are crazy. Yeah, I hope more comes out about it because I want to compare. It seems like a situation that's like hard to believe, but that's what I'm getting. All right. Hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. Take care.